Well, back. Day 5 YouTube jail. Got a lot done in the shop. Thought I'd come down here to the river, check out the level to see if it would be doable for me to get up at first light in the morning and come here and see if I can wade across the river, which was my original plan, and then the tsunami came, but tsunami of rain from the sky, that is. But it still looks to be about 8 or 9 inches over top of that boulder back behind me, so that means it's probably a no-go for me to get across the river. I might try, maybe, we'll see. Either way, I have to go fishing in the morning for a few casts anyways. What else? What else? I guess Dave Plattis let everybody know on his channel this morning that I'm in jail. We get email after crap loads of social media messages. Where are you? Sarah's getting messages like, holy cow, you guys. We tried to put it on the comment section of the last YouTube video. Posted on social media. Never really figured it out in a couple days and I come back. And then in the meantime, the podcast is loading up, obviously, if you're hearing it right now. But these videos will be available on the YouTube channel if they let me back on in a few days. But the podcast is available anywhere podcasts play. You'll be able to hear the audio that I post up. Now, anyway, let me get some voices heard while I'm here. Sarah has stuffed a great big juicy elk roast in the oven. Filmed it up. She did a bunch of goopy things to it. And I went into the oven, I think, I don't know, half an hour ago something. Oh my God, it's going to be good. She's going to post that up on her Cook and Eat It channel. It shouldn't be too hard to find these days. But anyway, listen to this. We got some voices to be heard. What's this one? Titled, Dear Steve. Mars is red. First up, let me say that the route you have chosen is proving more and more to be the correct one to follow. Not only for you, but for many others. I recall you saying you do not watch any of the other Sasquatch/Bigfoot themed channels. If you did, and or do now, you will see many using your words, as well as attempting to mimic your style. There are more than a few of the past names in the BF community who are now preaching, quote, this is about the people and helping the people who have seen these beings. That's what we are about, end quote. I'll admit it does make me chuckle in a way, as every one of them have never had this style deliver your channel theme, if you will, ever in the past. It's also amusing to see channels who have tried to discredit you now mimicking you. It has only come into place since HotHunt.com came into view and blew by them with viewer numbers which have never been attained by anyone, both currently or in the past. No one person has ever done what you've done here. We applaud you. I have 2 friends who finally attained the courage necessary to be able to bravely share through you. They both stated it was the courage this channel and the people on it who bravely shared gave them the confidence to come forward. Steve, we have your back as always. You have had ours all along. Thank you, and please do not stop. Charlie Thompson from New Mexico. Alright, man, thanks for that email. What do I say to that? I mean, obviously that wasn't my goal. I wasn't even in the works to do this, but it's not me, you guys. It's every single person out there. Every single person out there who's watching this channel, and 100% of every single person's shared through this channel. It's all because of them. People have had enough of the bullshit, man. Right? Everybody's had it right up to the nuts with the bullshit. It had to come to a head sometime. Why I've been put in this position, I don't know. My gut says to go with it, and I'm not going to stop. It's obviously very important. You know, originally I was more concerned about my fellow outdoors people who have had their passions annihilated because they were not honestly informed about the realities that go on in many places around the world. But anyway, thanks for that kind email. And I will pass that credit on to every single person that watches this channel and has shared on it, and every person who's about to share on it too. It's all about the people. There's nothing without the people. Alright, what do we got? There we go. Oh, this looks... Oh, this is a new one. Holy cow, this is a lengthy one. I'm going to go for you guys. Here we go. Marker's red. This is a recently emailed in. I just gotta hit this off the top. 3 times is enough. Dear Steve, first of all, thank you for all that you are doing to get the truth out to the rest of the world. Thanks for taking the stand we can get behind and help us to stop thinking that we're the only ones shaking our heads to crap at the governments of the world, the manipulation, the lying news medias, the social media hypocrites who try to shove their one world agenda, and the bullshit environmentalist climate change idiots who again want to shove these lies down our throats so that we all get in line and act like sheep to everything they do and every lie they want to keep throwing at us. I'm disgusted, fed up, and downright so pissed off that it makes me think there are so many stupid people in this world who want to go along with their fear tactics and isolationism tactics that they think they will all just play along. They forget that we have a history of fighting back and not laying down and being rolled over and manipulated to the point of being robots. We need to come together and fight back against this bullshit. Soon it'll be time for action, and we need to be ready and willing to fight back. Sorry for the rant, I can't help it. It makes me angry what they're doing. Okay, man, here you go. Here's my story. My name is Rich Merrick. Go ahead and use my name. I'm 62 years old now, but the first experience is back in my late 20s. 1988, I was up in the Sierra Nevada mountains around Mammoth Lakes, fishing with my dad at a place called Tom's Place, off the 395 highway, just outside Mammoth. I grew up as an avid outdoorsman, fishing, hiking, camping most of my life. I love the mountains and especially this area of the Sierras. We had been there 20 or 30 times in my life, as it was one of my dad's favorite fishing spots. It was in the middle of the day, my dad was in his fishing hole, and as usual, I'd go up or down the stream a couple hundred yards in either direction and find a spot or two to fish. This time I had headed upstream from my dad and was about 500 yards upstream. It was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous day. The sun was shining with a few clouds here and there, probably around noontime. Like I said, I had gone about 500 yards upstream and came around a bend in the stream and found a great big rock in the middle of the stream that had smaller rocks behind it. And they gave me a natural walkway to the large rock in the center of the stream. There was a large deep hole around this rock, and I could see several nice rainbows swimming behind the rock, waiting for the next meal to come downstream in front of them. Thought, great, perfect spot to fish. The stream had thick scrub and many small trees on one side with large areas of short grass and what looked like dirt trails made by other fishermen and animals, so it was easy to walk around on that side of the stream. The opposite side had 3 times the amount of heavy scrub bushes and trees that were much thicker and appeared to not have any kind of trails or walking areas unless you wanted to make your own way. I know this because I tried pushing my way through several of the areas and only resulted in putting several holes in my waders, which ended up filling up with cold mountain water when I went into the stream. That sucks. Excuse me. So I took off my waders and I sat on this rock and fished as I waited for my pants and socks to dry. It was great fishing for about 2 hours or so. I caught about 6 good-sized rainbows and had them on my stringer in the water by the shore, and I just baited my hook again with salmon eggs and thrown it in the nice deep hole again. I had enough fish to keep and was now just fishing to catch and release the fish because the fishing was so good, and I knew my dad would have several good-sized ones as well, so I was just enjoying the day. I was sitting there fishing, looking around at the beautiful scenery and thanking God for what he had created. Then it hit me, a weird feeling, very strong, that someone was watching me. Like I said, I'd been here 20 or 30 times and never had experienced this feeling, never at any time in my life up in the mountains, hiking, camping, nothing at all like it. It was very strong, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and a voice in my head said, "Get out of there." I stood up on the rock and slowly and carefully looked around me in all directions, but I couldn't see anything. I thought maybe a bear or mountain lion, but nothing. Now I was not into hunting at that time, as I remember thinking if it was a bear or mountain lion, how I was going to protect myself, or what did I have to protect myself? A fillet knife and a pair of needle-nose pliers was all I had. Not very good against a bear or mountain lion. The feeling got stronger and stronger, and the voice in my head kept saying, "Leave, get out of here." I again stood on the rock and looked slowly in every direction, looking deeply into the heavy, densely shrub and trees on the one side of the stream, but I couldn't see anything. Then it got really quiet. I noticed no birds, no crickets, no other insects or sounds, just the sound of the stream, and that was it. Never had I experienced this total silence like that. Again, the eerie, creepy feeling of dread, of fear, of evil came over me again, and this time even stronger. The voice again, this time screaming at me, "Get out of here!" Oh, sorry, get out of there. I jumped down to the smaller rocks, each time looking all around as I did, and grabbed my fish and my stringer and put them in my bag and grabbed my waders, and again looked around one more time really slowly, looking at each tree, up and down, each bush, and again seeing nothing. Began walking at a fast pace back down the river toward my dad's fishing hole. The feeling didn't leave me until I got back to where my dad was, and then it was gone. I couldn't explain it. It was gone. My dad asked how I was doing, and I showed him my fish, and he showed me his stringer full of fish as well. I never said anything to my dad or anyone else about it, but it stayed with me the rest of the time I was up there. Then move forward 10 years later, again back up in the Mammoth area, the Sierras, this time dead center of Mammoth Lakes near Lake Mary, off one of the tributaries that feeds into the lake. I was again up there with my dad, but this time it was late afternoon. I was by myself fishing in a stream, again sitting on a large rock with a nice deep hole behind it with lots of rainbows, and the fishing was good. We had been up there several days and had been fishing all over the area. Oh, that'll be an eagle right behind me. Hope he's not talking to me. It was late summer and again a nice day of sunshine with some clouds, normal for that time of year. I've been fishing about 3 hours, and again the fishing was good. I had 5 nice-sized trout, enough for dinner and probably breakfast the next morning. I remember the sun was starting to go down as the shadows were growing bigger and the surround woods were getting darker and darker. I again was sitting there waiting for the next nibble and enjoying the sounds of the birds, the sounds of the crickets, squirrels, chipmunks, and other sounds of the woods. Then it all went silent, and I mean in an instant. No sound again except the sound of the moving stream. Then again it hit me again, that eerie, weird feeling that someone was watching me, looking right through me. It gave me the creeps. And again the hair on my back, my neck, and my arms stood up. I was very familiar with this area and this exact fishing spot, as I'd been there many, many times at all different times of the day and all different seasons. It was very familiar. I could see easily through the surrounding areas all around me for 30 to 40 yards in every direction. I stood up and looked around me, turning a full slow circle, looking closely in every direction. Nothing, not a bird moving, not twigs or pine needles being crunched or stepped on, no sound whatsoever. Just this shitty feeling of creepy evil and dread. It felt heavy and menacing, and you felt like you were frozen with fear and gloom. I kept searching the surrounding area and nothing. Then the voice hit me with, "Leave, get out of here." It sounded loud and evil, not a friendly voice of a warning. It was evil and loud, and it filled your head and got louder. "Get out of here now." I got my stuff together, grabbed my fish, and was looking around again when the voice in my head screamed, "Get out now," over and over again. I remember getting to my truck and thinking I was going crazy. These voices, these creepy feelings of being watched. It brought me right back to the first time 10 years before. I drove away and pulled into the parking lot in the middle of the town and just sat in my truck for a few minutes trying to answer what the hell is going on? Am I crazy? What the hell? After about 20 minutes, I drove back to my dad's place and decided that I was going to ask him if this had ever happened to him, since he had spent so much time up here fishing all over the place. I got back and showed him the fish, and then I asked him if he had ever had the feeling of being watched or had a creepy feeling come over him while he was fishing. He looked at me with a funny smirk and said, "No, why?" I said that I had a weird feeling that someone was watching me out there. He asked me if I saw anyone or anything, and I said no. And he said not to worry about it and laughed and started cleaning the fish. I remember this second time stayed with me for a long time, and every time after that when we would go fishing, I was anticipating this creepy feeling again, and it took all the fun out of being there, fishing and just being in the mountains. I can remember several times I canceled going fishing with my dad because of this creepy, eerie feeling I didn't want to feel again. So now fast forward to October 2020. My wife and I went up to June Lake in the Sierra Nevada mountains, the small community right next to Mammoth Lakes where I would go with my dad when I was younger. I guess the 20-some years later, I'd put those prior experiences behind me, and my wife, who had never been up into the mountains before, we had decided to get out of town with all the crap from the Chinese COVID virus and all the crap going on, so we headed for the mountains for 10 days. There were several fires burning in the Sierras at that time, and no one was close to Mammoth. We had postponed the trip for several weeks due to the fires and ended up in June Lake in October 2020. These trees were changing color, and it was beautiful except for the smoky days when the wind would blow the smoke from Mammoth our way. June Lake is just around the corner from Yosemite and Mono Lake areas, so there was lots of places we could go to get away from the smoke. We stayed at a B&B right near June Lake and walked around the area the first couple days. My wife has COPD, so it was not easy for her to breathe on the smoky days, and it limited her ability to go on hikes, so we kayaked and took a boat out onto the lake. The third day, I decided to hike all around the lake, and it took about 3 hours. I was having a great time being outdoors and enjoyed the hike. It's not a smoky day, so it was clear and beautiful. I'd gotten those two previous experiences. I had forgotten those two previous experiences and was having a good day hiking around the lake. I was close to completing the end of the walk around the lake. I was up on these huge granite rocks with old wind swept pine needles that looked like they were hundreds of years old and twisted and bent in different positions. I hadn't seen trees like that before, so it's cool to be sitting there enjoying the lake, watching all the fishermen and people in their boats and kayaks on the lake. Like I said, I was almost completely around the place. I'd started in a rocky area with a lot of tall pines and several large homes and cabins close by the lake's edge, but most of them looked empty at the time. I found a couple of game paths, several with a lot of fresh deer droppings, and then they took me away from the lake at first, deeper into the surrounding woods. The trail took me around the rocky area, and finally I was heading back toward the lake when it hit me again. This time I froze. The evil, eerie, creepy feeling of dread and doom that something was watching me. I was frozen. I stopped dead in my tracks. Again, the sounds disappeared, and it was eerily silent. It was about 4 in the afternoon, sun was out, but shadows were creeping into the area I was walking in. I was so close to the town and where we were staying. I told myself to keep walking. Just keep walking, and you are so close to home and safety. I was so mad at myself. I told myself, you're 60 years old, and you're afraid of the forest again? Again? You let these feelings creep you out. Then again, the feeling hit me again, harder. Then the voice, leave, get out of here now. Oh shit, I said to myself. I immediately looked around slowly, this time not wanting to see anything, and I didn't. But this feeling was again heavy, and it felt like it was weighing me down. It was stealing my energy. I just wanted to go away. I stopped and just listened. I froze. I thought I heard some branches snap about 50 yards to one side of me. I froze and concentrated my focus in that direction, still nothing. I heard another snap to the other side of me a few seconds later. I whipped my head in its direction, but nothing. The voice came back again, louder. Get out. That was it. Put my head down and started running down the deer trail that led me back toward the lake, and I just kept going for the next 15 minutes until I saw and heard people just ahead of me, and the path ended on a road right near the main road to the town, close to where we were staying. I remember thanking God for letting me get back safely. I got back to the small hotel, and my wife asked how my walk was, and I told her it was good. I didn't want to tell her anything, as I would have to tell her of my other encounters or creepy feelings of doom, and I decided not to say anything. Again, I thought there was something wrong with me and that I should ruin her vacation because I was getting creeped out and scared to walk in the woods anymore. It made me feel weak, not in control, and weak. It made me mad that I would let these feelings have such power over me. I couldn't figure it out. My wife and I took a couple of trips from June into Mammoth to find some places to eat, and each time we were heading down Route 395 towards Mammoth, I would look into that heavy forest on either side, tell myself that this would be a good area to see a Bigfoot. It was just a feeling I had, and I had that feeling each time we drove through the area. I never put two and two together until I saw you on YouTube. My wife and I enjoyed the rest of our time in the mountains, and I spent several days taking pictures of the trees changing colors and walked up and down the streams and taking pictures all over. One day I was walking along a river taking pictures, and I noticed several tree formations that looked funny, like someone had bent the trees one way and then some others crisscrossing over each other. It did look natural, but like someone had deliberately created it. I saw a weird, what I thought was a beaver den in the middle of the stream, but the stream wasn't dammed or blocked off. It looked weird, and again looked out of place. I took pictures of it and showed my wife, who insisted it was a beaver den. I told her it looked different, not a place where it was. The creepy feeling never returned, but I was thinking about the rest of the trip every day, just waiting for it to return. It never did. I was searching for answers, but didn't find it until I found your channel. I have to tell you, growing up, I was always fascinated by Bigfoot. Ever since I saw the Patterson film, I was hooked. When I was 8 or 9 years old, I told my family I was going to capture a Bigfoot with a rubber cage so that when he would punch the sides, it would stretch and not break so he couldn't escape. Needless to say, my family laughed and made fun of me anytime I would mention Bigfoot, even when I was an adult, so I always believed they were real. Anyway, when we got back home, I was on YouTube, and your site appeared on the right margin with several other videos, several related to Bigfoot, which always got my attention. Most were those idiots on TV who will go out in the woods at night and try to find Bigfoot and scream and holler in the woods and talk loudly to each other over the radios and then shine their lights and never come close to anything but looking like fools. I also saw many channels of people talking to the camera with supposed Bigfoots behind themselves on their property, and they would circle or point to where they are behind them in the video. What a joke. There are also many videos, many of which looked real and looked to be true videos of Bigfoot all over the country. Anyway, I found your site, OutHunt.com, and started watching it and listening to you reading the emails from all around the country, US and Canada. And wham, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Over and over I heard my story being told over and over again by people who had similar experiences. I realized I wasn't crazy, I wasn't alone, and I had an answer to what had happened to me over the years. I also learned that the area around June Lake, Yosemite, Mammoth Lakes, Mono Lake are all areas of many, many sightings of Bigfoot, and not just one, families of them. They even made a Monster Quest show about the sightings in the area. It all came together for me, and I realized what had happened. Thank you for what you do and keep doing it. It gives me peace knowing I have an answer. It also angers me that so many are trying to keep it under wraps and not tell us the truth. They are real, they are out there, and the truth needs to be told. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what you do. It still bothers me to go outside at night when I'm in the mountains at night, and I will not go hiking or fishing anymore by myself. They have ruined that for me, at least for right now. I don't know what I would do if I ever saw one, but I know not to go searching for them and to just leave them alone and let them be. They are real. I have known that and will be respectful of their home and be ever so watchful and aware whenever I'm in their territory. Thanks, Steve. Stay safe. Keep fighting for the truth. Sorry for the long email, but you don't the freedom and release your channel. Sorry, there's a typo there. Sorry for the long email, but you don't the freedom and release your channel brings us. Bless you and your family and all those that respond. Currently, my wife and I are up in the mountains of Idaho near the town of Salmon, Idaho, as I continue my fight to not fear and take back control. At least this time, I at least am armed, although I don't think it would do any good, but I feel better that I have it with me. Rich Merrick. Rich, thank you so much for that share, and I'm so glad that it's helping to fill in some missing gaps in your puzzle, right? And no, you are definitely not alone. Not alone. Nobody's alone now. I don't think anybody's alone before. They just had to figure it out, figure out they weren't crazy, and they knew what they heard, saw, felt, heard in their head, and that literally tens of thousands of other human beings, innocent people, innocent, good, honest people have had the same experiences. It's something else, isn't it? A quick note on that, there's a lot of people who, got a lot of people say in emails or online, whatever, a lot of people always say, I'm a believer, or I wasn't a believer until this and that, or I believe now. Again, I don't tell people what to do. I don't tell people to think the way I think. I don't need anybody to believe what I believe or accept what I know. I just don't. I love to share absolutely everything I can so that each individual can take from it what they will or leave it. You've got the choice. but you also have the choice to listen or not too, right? No matter what. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, I feel that possibly a more constructive way to relate to this topic when you're talking about it or sharing it with somebody else would be to describe it as whether or not you are accurately or fully informed on the topic. That's the way I prefer to deliver it, and I do not use the believe or believer word. I just don't. It doesn't fit, because it's like, are you a believer that this river is a foot higher than it was a week ago? Or are you honestly informed that the water rose up a foot since last week? Does that even make sense? I don't know. I guess I'm kind of babbling. I'm just saying a believer is what you kind of almost hear when it's more common with some kind of a religious cult following or something. I think, maybe, possibly. Maybe I'm wrong. I probably am wrong. Who knows? But I'm just saying, when it comes to this topic, all it is knowledge now. It's whether or not you accept that knowledge as truthful or not. Or you don't accept that knowledge. But I have a funny feeling everybody's going to have to accept this knowledge as true fairly soon. If I had to guess, if I had to make a forecast, there's just far too many people are coming out. Far too many are coming forward. And that's enough proof right there for anything, you know? It's just a matter of whether or not your average human being can accept the truth or not when it comes to this topic today, right? Anyway, gets more voices heard here. And for anybody watching or listening, where I am right now is where some things were getting tossed at me from the bushes to my right. It's a little bizarre. And then the other place things got thrown at me and it made me shit myself in ways was straight south from where I am right now, about 10 miles. But what I think I might do here fairly soon, I'm going to text my neighbor. Because the first time I met him, we started bullshitting. And he told me flat out that one of his employees had one of these things run across the road in front of him. I knew exactly where that was. But he also told me that he was walking with his family, his wife and kids, very close to here a little while back. And they heard some noises in the woods and it made them absolutely terrified and they got the hell out of there. And he told me that it was an old dirt road named somewhere around Sprout Lake. And I'm going to find out from him and I'm going to go to that spot, check it out, maybe do some shares there and see what's up. So that's coming up in the near future, my future plans. Okay, mark this as read. 1990, Pennsylvania Winter Encounter. Steve found your channel a few weeks ago and I've become a faithful follower and binge watcher since. I want to share what happened to myself and others on a cold winter night in western Pennsylvania. A little background about me. I lived in the Laurel Highlands region of southwestern PA. I hunted and fished from a young age, and as a teenager would often come home from school on a Friday, grab a bedroll, a pack full of food and water, a knife, hatchet, compass, and a fire starter, and head out into the woods with a group of friends. Of course I would leave a note on the kitchen table, reading, "In the woods, back Sunday." Beautiful. I grew up on the TV show In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. Anybody who doesn't know who that is, that's Spock off of Star Trek way back in the day. I was fascinated with strange stuff like Bigfoot, UFOs, and ghosts. I've seen UFOs multiple times, and our family had a poltergeist that lived with us in one of our houses. At least he was friendly and just liked to prank us. That's creepy. I'm not into that shit. I've also encountered less friendly entities, not fun. As a kid, my sister had worked for the Pennsylvania Game Commission and had stories of how some of her co-workers refused to go to certain spots in the mountains due to strange lights, sounds, and encounters. I'd never had a bad encounter in the woods, but had seen weird things, heard strange sounds, and had that feeling of being watched. Anyway, on to my story. It was a cold, snowy night in January or February of 1990. My girlfriend and I were hanging out watching movies with our friend Chris and his girlfriend at his house. At around 8 p.m., we got a call from our friend Dave, asking if we wanted to come over and hang at his house. Sure, why not? Dave lived around 3 miles away by road, but only around 1.5 if we walked through the woods. We decided to walk because although it was a cold night, it was mostly clear, with light snow and a quarter moon, so we had good visibility to move through the woods. We bundled up and headed down the paved road towards the wooded area and trail we used to traverse between our houses. The area was a lot of cornfields and cattle pastures bordered with heavily wooded areas. A few miles down the road was a large lake that was a state recreational area. We could have taken another shortcut through some cornfields, but some farmers were shoot without warning for trespassing. Birdshot doesn't feel nice when it's stuck in your shoulder. Ask me how I know. We turned off the road, across a small field into the woods to a trail we knew by heart. The trail led out to a gas well service road, went through the woods, and emerged at a main road and clearing. As we went into the woods, Chris led our little column with his girlfriend, then my girlfriend, then me as tail end Charlie. As we got deeper in, it got very quiet. No sound at all. Nothing but the sound of our footsteps crunching through the snow. The hair on my body suddenly went stiff as wire. I had heard other footsteps deeper in the woods, parallel to ours. Chris had heard them too and stopped. The footsteps stopped, too. Did you hear that? I asked. Sure did, he replied. Let's keep going. As we started walking again, the footsteps resumed. It was a heavy gait, and you could almost feel them. Chris stopped again. We stopped. And then the footsteps stopped. What the F? I asked. Chris said, I don't know, but I'm going to go check it out, stay with the girls. He was showing bravado in front of his girl. I could see he was scared. We told the girls the plan, noting their objections, and Chris headed out into the woods towards where the footsteps had come from. I didn't like this one bit. We were mostly unarmed, except for our knives. Chris had a K-bar combat knife, and I had an antler handle hunting knife that my grandfather had made me when I was 9. I felt like if we met whatever it was, it wouldn't be nearly enough. We stood in the dark, listening as Chris moved through the woods away from us. Both girls were shit scared. My girl was crying and shaking. I can't say I wasn't either. Suddenly we heard Chris scream, "Run!" and heard him start running through the woods. I shoved the girls forward, screaming, "Go, go, go!" They started screaming. I could hear those heavy footfalls start up faster this time. We cleared out of the trees and onto the well road. Go left, I yelled, and we started running down the road. Chris burst out of the brush about 10 yards ahead of us onto the road. He was screaming, "Holy F! Run, run, run!" We bolted down the road, running flat out. I could see the light from the street lamp at the main road. From our woods to the left, we could hear the footfalls, the breaking trees, the grunting. I remember thinking to myself, we're not going to make it. It seemed like the road was getting longer, stretching out in front of us. Maybe my fear was playing tricks in my mind, or was it real? I don't know. It effing felt real. We finally reached the clearing that met the road and sprinted toward the street lamp and perceived safety. A gate blocked the road access and we had to climb over it. As we started climbing over, a scream that pierced my soul erupted from behind us. I can't even describe the sound. At the edge of the clearing, just outside the light thrown by the lamp, was a large black form. And it was pacing back and forth across the well road, its eyes never leaving us. Those eyes glowing red like taillights on a car in the distance. Those eyes met mine and I felt the purest malevolence and hatred that I've ever felt directed towards me. I knew that thing wanted to kill us. It was death. No doubt in my mind. After what seemed like an eternity, I broke the gaze and climbed the fence to the road. What the F is that? My girlfriend screamed. Chris said, I don't know, and we're not going to find out. We ran the half mile or so to Dave's house and pounded on his door, screaming to let us in. After piling inside, we locked the door and told Dave to grab his gun. We were hysterical, out of breath, and out of our minds. He returned with a 12-gauge pump loaded with slugs. He kept asking what happened, and after about 30 minutes, we related the story. Dave, being Dave, he immediately wanted to go see if he could find it. Yeah, good effing luck, I said. If you do go, you go by yourself, and you might want to get in your dad's safe and get out one of his bringbacks. I'd go belt-fed. Springbacks, maybe? I'd go belt-fed. Bracket, Dave's dad was a Green Beret in Vietnam, and he had a very nice collection of toys he had managed to bring back with him. After that, he relented. We called Chris's dad to come pick us up, and had a silent ride back to Chris's house. His dad asked us what happened, as we were all showing signs of trauma. We told him nothing, and I'm pretty sure he could tell it was terrifying. He was a Nam vet too. He had seen some shit. We stayed the night, but I didn't feel safe until the sun rose. Chris's house sat on the edge of the woods. We never spoke of that night again amongst ourselves, but I've told the story a few times to others. Most people look at me like I'm crazy or just making shit up. I'm pretty sure a story I made up wouldn't give me the terrifying nightmares for over 30 years later and haunt me every time I set foot in the woods. I live in Florida now and have a girlfriend who loves to spend time in the woods together. I told her the story and she knows that I don't lie. She accepts that I had something terrible happen to me. We hike the Florida Trail in the Ocala and Seminole State Forests and sometimes do overnight camping when our work schedules permit. I insist that we are armed, both of us carrying full-size 40 cal handguns with spare magazines. She's okay with that. We do have bears and we've encountered a few, and that's my excuse. I don't feel scared, but my senses are always amped up to 10, head on a swivel, ears open. I've had that feeling of being watched, but I have not felt any ill will. It is true, though, that once you've encountered one, you are never the same. Sorry for the long story, but I needed to tell it. Feel free to use my name. I couldn't care less about what anyone thinks of me. F them all. I proudly take my place at the round table of knowledge. Keep fighting the good fight, and thanks for all you do. Robert Luckhart, hope I pronounced it right, Robert, Central Florida. Been to Central Florida, been turkey hunting around there, and I definitely, I was looking all over my shoulder non-stop when I was in those woods, especially walking in the dark through there. It's a different kind of timber, forest, vegetation than I'm obviously used to up here. The red glowing eyes, the menacing, tall, big, huge, wide beings with the red glowing eyes. The consistent theme of people running into that shit has been not so good, right? I mean, there's all sorts of descriptives, right? There's been a lot of people seeing these things broad daylight, said they had all brown eyes, no white, all black eyes, no white, dark, huge eyes set back in their skulls. Some have had eyes that glow with a white light, some have a bluish green tinge to them, but so far, unless anybody wants to correct me, when you see these beings in the woods with the red glowing eyes, it's definitely time to frickin' get the hell out of there. I don't know what the story is, I don't know what the excuse is, I don't know what the reality is with that flavor, and I don't know why, do not know why those angry bush people, whatever you want to call them, the ones that pace you, stop walking when you stop walking, smash trees, growl, scream, put the words in your head to get the hell out of here, I'll kill you or you're gonna die. Glowing red eyes and feeling menacing, the feeling of dread, evil, death. I don't understand why those incidents, why humans consistently leave unscathed from that. I don't get it. Because we all know humans, I mean, if we ever come across, I have experienced true, evil, dark-souled humans in my past, and the second I am within even 20 yards of those people when I bumped into them, you know it. You know it. From the inside to the outside, you know they are dark, dreadful, dirty, filthy human beings. And I don't understand why these unknown beings, why they do not just annihilate us. What's stopping them? That's what I want to, I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at, what is it? What is it that's stopping them? I don't get it. Why would you waste your time pacing a simple, helpless human being? Why would you do it? Especially at nighttime. You're good. You're done. You've successfully gotten near the human beings. You're going to kill them. Nobody knows where you came from. Nobody knows your name. You're not going to leave any footprints. There's going to be no tailing you. You're going to get away with it. Why aren't you killing the human beings? I don't get it. What's stopping them? That's a big missing piece to my puzzle. Why? But then again, I've been really curious as to why wild animals don't kill us. You know, there's so many incidents of wildlife that we do know of that kill each other, kill everything, non-stop. They don't kill us. You know, and call them what you want. Orcas, call them killer whales, I don't care. But either way, they are one of the most ruthless predators of the seas. You know, they have videotapes of them pushing a calf gray whale away from its mom and pinning it until it drowns, and they just rip its tongue out and let it and leave it. That's it. That's all she wrote. You know, they kill and dismember smaller size harbor seals, flip them up in the air, beat the crap out of them, torment them, and absolutely torture them for as long as they can before they kill them. You know, people say they're training their young. Well, that's fine. Why don't they just train their young to catch something and kill it and eat it when they're hungry and be done with it, right? But they consistently, there's videos online of killer whales going right by children swimming in the water. They're crapping themselves, but they just swim right by. There's non-stop there's many proven incidents of killer whales killing moose off the coast of Alaska. They caught them in the water. You know, killer whales kill everything, but I've had them come underneath my boat, I don't know how many times. I've had them go up and nose my float, my anchor float, right in front of my boat. They've jerked my boat with the bow line attached to that float. They could easily flip my boat over and trash my ass at any given moment. There's 20 of them around me one time. They don't do it. Why don't they do it? I don't get it. There's many other animals that just will not kill us, and I don't know why. Don't know why. There's something's going on, whether it be spiritual or whatever it is. Something's going on, man. We need to get back to these red glowing eye bastards who terrify the shit out of people and inflict dread and absolute hell upon our souls. Why aren't they acting on it? Why even waste your time pacing us if you're not going to do it? Right? It's like that big talker Betty Crocker bully who always says he's going to come and beat the crap out of somebody. They always scream it out loud, and then it comes down to it, they don't do shit. Doesn't make sense. Anyways, I've babbled enough. I gotta go home and eat some elk roast. It's gonna be so good. Day 6 YouTube jail's coming up tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see if these bastards let me back on YouTube or not. If they don't, oh well. We'll keep this ball rolling no matter what. Everybody be safe out there.